When one man's camera captured something crawling out of a swamp, it revealed a world of shocking secrets. Creepy crawlers, strange sightings, and downright chilling discoveries. This isn't your average footage. This is the stuff of nightmares.
What the hell is that?
What is happening?
The Manti people, an ancient, uncontacted tribe, were believed to have vanished decades ago, but a group of adventurers decided to test the legends. As they ventured deeper into the forest, they stumbled upon a small hut. Inside, they found two small figures sitting calmly, though clearly uneasy about the intrusion. Before the group could approach, the figures swiftly vanished, one into the water and the other into the shadows of the forest. Could these have been the last surviving members of the Manti tribe? Horrifying monster.
Selamat datang kembali di channel aku, Stewart. Oke, jadi
An Indonesian YouTuber claimed to have seen a strange creature in a nearby swamp. They heard noises and shockingly saw a white humanoid creature emerging from the water. It was horrifying to look at, even though the moment of capture was quite brief. Upon seeing them, the creature retreated into the swamp, and the friends, scared, ran out as well. It seemed like the creature may have been just as frightened of them as they were of it. Wrong call. Terrifying is the only word to describe this encounter. A boy sitting alone in his garden had no idea he wasn't alone. After midnight, a mysterious figure, draped in white cloth, emerged from the ground. The figure, which appeared feminine, grabbed the boy by his lower leg, trying to pull him down. The boy fought back, struggling to break free. The video cuts off before we see the outcome, but let's hope he escaped the clutches of whatever that thing was. What do you think happened? Swamp monster. In a small town in Indonesia, locals there often encountered a monster near a lake. One man went and set a whole chicken as bait, hoping that if a monster was lurking, it would surely come to eat it. The trick worked. A giant, scary, hairy monster emerged from the lake. It looked around for a while, then grabbed the chicken and carried it into the water quickly. The man couldn't believe that everything he had heard was true. This swamp monster was nightmarish. Moving swamp.
what the?
These guys decided to step into a swamp, and let's just say, it didn't go smoothly. Almost immediately, they noticed something was off. The water started churning, like something big and angry was lurking beneath. It felt like a monster guarding its territory. But these guys, they stayed calm, almost too calm. Lucky for them, whatever it was didn't make an appearance, and they got out unscathed. Still, swamps are no place to test your luck. Swamp's nightly terror. Exploring a river's edge that meets a swamp late at night is never a good idea, and here's why. Two explorers were wandering by the water when they noticed something strange lurking just beneath the surface. Its shape was unclear, but they could make out a tail and a large head. Curiosity got the better of them, so they prodded it with a stick. Big mistake. The creature suddenly jumped out of the water, forcing them to run in fear. They ran to a nearby bridge, and with their heart pounding, they watched the creature slip back into the depths. The relief they felt was undeniable. Slithering about. Having only two hind legs hasn't slowed down this apex reptilian. From a distance, it might look like a giant lizard, the way it is slithering about on the mud. But up close, it's a totally different story. Maybe it got caught up in a feeding frenzy where a crocodile bit off its legs. And just for your information, they do that. Marine Ghost. Two men near a swamp late at night heard strange noises and decided to investigate. Crossing a bridge, they were stunned to see a mermaid sitting quietly by the shore. One of the men, thinking it might be a prank, approached her and tried to pick her up. But as soon as he touched her, the camera began to blur, and the mermaid slipped from his grasp, disappearing into the water. The surreal encounter left both men convinced that mermaids are real. Whether it was a trick of the light or something truly otherworldly, the experience was unforgettable and more than a little eerie. WW2 plane.
Here I am on a path just off of Radar Hill.
You never know what you'll find in the wilderness. A vlogger heading to Tofino to camp on Radar Hill decided to explore an abandoned house deep in the woods. But the real shock came when he ventured further and stumbled upon a World War II plane, broken and scattered across the area. The sight was unexpected and surreal. Its body parts were rusted and scattered, a haunting relic of the past. The vlogger took some time to observe the wreckage, marveling at the history hidden in the forest, before continuing on his journey. It's discoveries like these that make exploring the wild so thrilling.
A World War II 1945 bomber just crashed in the middle of this swamp.
Weird creature. Swamps are known for their mysteries, and this one was no exception. A group of friends decided to go fishing in a swamp late at night, already a questionable choice. After catching some fish, they reeled in something that left them completely baffled. It was a bizarre creature with no discernible face, and it didn't seem to be alive. The friends, unsure of what they'd found, speculated it might be an otherworldly being. They quickly released it back into the water and left the area, shaken by the encounter. What do you think it could have been?
Bukan, Mbak. Kutu dia sudah lari tadi.
Giant's proof.
We've just discovered evidence of the Florida skunk ape.
In a small Florida town, rumors of a skunk ape, a giant ape-like creature, had everyone on edge. A group of friends decided to investigate and ventured into the woods. After hours of searching, they found what they were looking for. Massive footprints in the mud, so clear it looked like the creature had passed through recently. The group didn't stick around long and quickly left the area. For months afterward, no one dared to go near the woods, and eventually, the sightings stopped. Was it a skunk ape or something else entirely?
Big heel pad, big toe, second, third.
Creepy moment. A group of friends exploring the woods stumbled upon something straight out of a horror movie. As they were about to head back, they noticed what looked like a campfire in the distance. But when they got closer, they found something far more disturbing. A strange trunk-like object with worm-like creatures crawling out of it. Nearby, containers filled with red liquid suggested some kind of satanic ritual had taken place. The group didn't stick around to find out more and quickly left. Whatever happened there, it was definitely not normal. Bonu Beast. In the jungles of the Philippines, a group of brave adventurers set out to find a legendary giant snake. But what they encountered was far stranger than anything they could have imagined. While searching the swamp, they spotted a giant bubble bobbing in the water. At first, they thought it might be a massive fish and tried to catch it, but just as they reached for it, the bubble vanished. They waited, and eventually, they managed to get close again. This time, they tried to grab it, but it slipped right through their hands. The creature they were dealing with wasn't a fish or a snake. It was the Bonu Ghost, a long-haired female spirit from Filipino folklore. The spirit wriggled and fought against them, making it impossible to capture. Defeated, the group decided to leave, but the encounter left them shaken. The Bonu Ghost is still out there, lurking in the swamps, waiting for its next Mud monster.
What the hell? What is that, Mom?
Nature has a way of surprising us in the strangest ways. A man exploring the woods noticed something moving in the mud. Curious, he approached and was shocked to see a dark, slimy creature resembling a giant snail. Its bizarre, mud-covered body made it look like some kind of mud monster. The man watched it for a moment, but the eerie sight was enough to convince him to leave. Sometimes, it's better not to disturb what you find in the wild.
What the hell is that?
What is happening?
Swamp creepster. An Indonesian swamp near a quiet village had long been rumored to be haunted by strange, ghostly figures. One evening, a couple of farmers returning home spotted something crawling near the swamp. The creature was unlike anything they'd ever seen. Its limbs bent unnaturally backward, and its body curved in a way that defied human anatomy. As it flexed its arms and began creeping toward them, the men froze in terror. The video cuts off abruptly, leaving everyone wondering, did they escape, or did the creature get to them? The swamp's dark reputation only grew after this chilling encounter. Swamp Bigfoot. In 2015, a strange figure was spotted in the swamps of Florida, lurking just beyond the trees. Dark, towering, and with a thick coat of hair, it moved slowly through the water, casting a shadow that seemed larger than life. Many believe it was Bigfoot, caught in a rare moment away from cover. Skeptics dismissed it as an animal, but the footage and eyewitness accounts say otherwise. The sighting sparked debate, with some convinced that this was proof of an unknown creature hidden in the deep, dark swamps of Florida, waiting to be discovered. Mysterious Sinkhole. In Louisiana, a sinkhole opened up in a swamp, swallowing an entire grove of trees in a dramatic and unsettling event. Emergency workers were on the scene, filming as the ground began to give way. Trees slowly slipped beneath the swirling waters, disappearing into the massive hole that seemed to grow larger by the minute. The cause? A collapsed underground salt dome cavern, which had been unstable for weeks. The sinkhole, estimated to be a staggering 25 acres wide, quickly became a serious concern for the local community. Authorities issued evacuation orders for 350 residents in the surrounding area, fearing the sinkhole's rapid expansion. The sight of trees being consumed by the earth and the eerie whirlpool-like waters left everyone in shock. As the sinkhole continued to grow, experts and officials worked tirelessly to monitor the situation, trying to prevent further damage. Mermaid Skeleton.
What the hell? What is that, Mom?
Swamps have a way of surprising you when you least expect it, and this guy found out the hard way. While exploring a lake, he noticed something unusual hidden under a rock. As he got closer, he realized it was a skeleton, a mermaid skeleton to be exact. At first, he thought it was just a random object, but when he touched it, a wave of chills ran down his spine. Without a second thought, he tossed it back into the water and quickly left the area. Now, the question remains, could it really have been a mermaid skeleton? After watching the footage, it's hard not to wonder if there's more to this story than meets the eye.
Oh my god, what is that? What is that?
Trapped forever. Someone either trapped it under the ice, or it made a bad judgment call. Maybe there's something far sinister about this clip, and this is how the rake lures people into its trap. And no wonder. Apparently, there have been 3 reports of people missing in that area. Breadwinner. Someone was feeding eels, and they were all trying to get the food and competing with each other. Their bodies were banging against each other. One eel managed to grab the morsel, but little did it know that it wasn't in its fate. As soon as the eel grabbed the morsel, a sneaky duck standing nearby struck the eel at the perfect moment and snatched its food. The duck waddled away victorious while leaving the eel shudder away in disappointment.
Ah! The duck got that.
She's always watching.
It's very beautiful.
Beautiful island.
Here, witness the haunted spell created by the spooky dolls of this island of dolls in Mexico. The place is haunted by the ghost of a terrifying past. The story goes that a man failed to save a girl from drowning, so to help with his guilt, he started hanging dolls all over the place. People have shared stories of hearing the screams of someone that sounds eerily young. Some have even seen glimpses of a ghostly apparition as she continues to haunt the island.
70 years ago, he started doing this, and then for 50 years, he continued hanging up these dolls everywhere.
Hairy crawler emerges. Is it just me, or does this thing look like a hairy witch creeping out of a murky river? This bizarre sight was captured in the Amazon, and at first glance, it's enough to send chills down your spine. But the truth is far less terrifying. It's just a sloth enjoying a refreshing dip. While we all know sloths for their slow movements on land, they're actually 3 times faster in water. Still, a soaking wet sloth emerging from the river with its fur clinging to its body is not something you'd want to stumble upon alone in the forest. You can't park here. A YouTuber, known for uncovering World War II relics with his metal detector, ventured deep into the woods and swamps in search of something big. To his amazement, he stumbled upon a T-34 tank, still in surprisingly good condition. The tank, a relic of the past, was partially buried but intact. He carefully inspected it, trying to clean off the dirt, but realizing the task was too big for one person, he wisely informed the authorities. It's not every day you find a piece of history just sitting in the middle of nowhere. Gone wrong. A science experiment that went horribly wrong. Lying on the ground was a strange creature that looked like a bizarre mix between a pig and a lizard. Its rough, scaly skin and unusual features puzzled the farmer, as it didn't resemble any animal he knew. To make things weirder, the creature had a stamp on it. When the remains were exposed to the townsfolk, they were left scratching their heads in confusion. Some called it an unidentified animal, while others called it a byproduct of a science experiment. Given the stamp, I'm leaning toward the idea of a failed science experiment. Beast of Brunei. While boating on a river in Brunei, a man saw something strange swimming nearby. Its pale gray body moved through the water, showing sharp black eyes and a mouth full of pointed teeth. This definitely wasn't your typical river creature. And yes, guys, it wasn't. Although it looked familiar but didn't quite match anything we know. So, if you guys have any guesses, let me know in the comments. Humanoid Tick. Now this is truly unbelievably creepy. Something about this video just gives me the creeps. I don't know if it's the face, the closed shut eyes, the pale, hairless body, or the fact it is a huge tick caught in someone's backyard. The visual is unsettling to say the least, and it even had tiny human-like teeth. So I wanted to find out whether or not this actually existed, and thank everything that is holy. It isn't. This is the original creator who makes creepy creations like these and sells them. Figure of 3. A man was filming the calm water near the shore when some disturbance caught his attention. At some distance, he saw a trio of strange figures emerging from the water and moving oddly. All 3 of these thin and long objects had a glowing top that looked more like a bright orb. Curious, the guy zoomed in to get an idea what he was watching, but before he could conclude anything, the tiny trio of odd orb sticks vanished beneath the surface. Swampy surprise. Swamps sure know how to keep you on your toes. A guy was out boating, enjoying the calm waters, when he noticed strange ripples. At first, he thought it was just a fish, but then, bam! A massive anaconda surfaced. The snake thankfully wasn't interested in him and swam away. But let's be real. If it had decided to come after him, things could have gotten ugly fast. Swamp adventures are no joke. Scary hand. A group of Indonesian men, intrigued by local tales of a creature called the Fishman, decided to investigate. They headed to an infamous swamp, armed with a whole chicken as bait. In the middle of the night, as they floated on a small boat, something bizarre happened. A humanoid creature with a human-like face and amphibian hands suddenly emerged from the water, snatched the chicken, and vanished back into the murky depths. The encounter left the men stunned. Was this a rare, undiscovered species, or just an elaborate hoax? Either way, it's the kind of story that makes you think twice about venturing into swamps after dark. Giant lobster. A man headed to the river for a quiet day of fishing, but something unusual in a nearby swamp caught his eye. Curious, he moved closer to investigate and was stunned by what he saw. A massive lobster, far larger than any he'd ever encountered. Its size and weathered appearance suggested it was incredibly old. How it ended up in the swamp was a mystery, as lobsters are typically found in saltwater environments, not freshwater swamps. Realizing it was best not to disturb it, he decided to leave the giant lobster in peace. Rising monster. Back in 2017, a YouTube video sent chills down everyone's spine and made muddy swamps a no-go zone. The video showed a guy standing near a muddy pool when something downright creepy emerged. It had no head, no facial features, just a bizarre, shapeless form rising from the mud. The sight lasted only a moment before the creature sank back into the murky depths, leaving the guy and everyone watching speechless. Honestly, it looked like a mud monster to me, and lucky for him, he caught it on camera before it vanished. Unexpected catch.
He's right here. Okay. Look. That's gotta be him. Yeah.
A group of experts were searching for a rare snake, but after a long search, what they found was totally unexpected. A swamp eel. It can live in muddy, shallow waters and is known for its ability to breathe air, which allows it to survive in low oxygen environments. A swamp eel can also move over land if necessary, making it well suited to swampy conditions. They observed it for a while and caught it in their net, but then decided not to take it with them and released it back. I would say that was a kind act.
He's fast. He's like right at the shore.
Swamp mystery. A nighttime fishing trip sounds peaceful, right? Well, not for this guy. It turned into something he'll never forget. While he was soaking in the quiet, he suddenly heard a bell ringing. A bell? In the middle of a forest at night? It wasn't some magical Hogwarts moment, it was real and totally confusing. He looked around, trying to figure it out, but nothing made sense. No source, no explanation, just that creepy sound. Honestly, I'm as baffled as he was. What could it have been? Thai monster. A mythical monster seemed to come alive in Thailand when a man spotted a bizarre creature near a swamp. It looked like a snake, but was covered in a hair-like sheath, making it appear otherworldly. Intrigued, he took it home, and his niece recorded the strange creature, posting the video online. After much speculation, a snake species coordinator identified it as a puff-faced water snake with algae growing on its scales. What initially seemed like a mythical beast turned out to be a fascinating example of nature's adaptability, or perhaps a unique symbiotic relationship between the snake and the algae. Either way, it's a reminder that reality can sometimes be just as strange as legend. Mythical being. A group of experts exploring deep in the woods stumbled upon something straight out of legend. One of them noticed movement in a nearby swamp and went to investigate. At first, he thought it was a large fish, but as he got closer, he realized it was something far more extraordinary. A mythical being, resembling a mermaid, still in the process of growing. The creature, clearly aware of his presence, tried to hide and escape. Despite his efforts to catch it, the being slipped away, disappearing into the murky waters. Scary encounter. In a small Indonesian town, strange noises from the woods kept everyone away at night until one man decided to investigate. At first, he found nothing unusual, but then he felt an eerie presence. Peering through the trees, he saw two terrifying creatures that looked like they belonged to another world. One had enormous ears, and the other had a long beard, giving them an almost tribal, otherworldly appearance. The man, terrified, bolted from the scene and never returned. Rare being. A tourist exploring the woods in Indonesia spotted something unusual. At first glance, he thought it was a monkey, but a closer look left him puzzled. The creature had huge eyes and moved quickly, unlike any monkey he'd seen. After observing it for a while, he left, still unsure of what it was. Turns out, it was a tarsier, a tiny, nocturnal animal native to Southeast Asia. Known for their enormous eyes, these little guys are masters of the night. Jurassic Monster. Here's something you don't see every day. A wildlife enthusiast was exploring a swamp when something in the water caught his eye. A huge face, ancient looking and straight out of Jurassic Park, emerged with massive nostrils flaring. For a moment, he thought he'd stumbled upon a prehistoric creature. Turns out, it was just a giant turtle. Still impressive, but definitely not a dinosaur. That face, though, unforgettable. Secret hideout. Swamps are turning into anaconda hotspots. An adventurer exploring the Amazon was on the hunt for its legendary giants when he spotted a massive disturbance in the water. Grabbing his camera, he followed the commotion and found an anaconda resting in the shallows. It was a heart-stopping moment, seeing one of nature's most powerful predators up close. Swamps might be beautiful, but they are definitely not for the faint of heart. Bermuda In Swamp. In 2020, Kenya witnessed something straight out of a disaster movie when two massive sinkholes appeared out of nowhere. These giants were so enormous, they swallowed everything in their path, leaving everyone stunned. The cause? The limestone beneath the swamp was eroding faster than anyone expected, creating these colossal holes. Nature once again proved it has more surprises up its sleeve than we can ever imagine. Giant Croc. A group of experts got word of a massive crocodile lurking near a river in a small Brazilian town. Determined to confirm the rumors, they arrived with their team and began the challenging task of capturing the beast. After a long struggle, they finally succeeded and were shocked by its size. This croc was enormous, over 100 years old, and unlike anything they'd seen before. They carefully loaded it onto their boat for further study, but after that day, the giant croc was never seen again. What happened to it? It still remains unsolved. Creepy web. A man searching for a new fishing spot was told about a small river deep in the woods. After a long journey, he finally reached the river, but there was a problem. The swampy area by the river's edge was covered in plants, and draped over them was a massive net crawling with hundreds of spiders. The sight was so terrifying that fishing there was out of the question. Disappointed, he turned back, vowing never to take fishing advice from strangers again. Sometimes, the journey just isn't worth it. Mystery creature. A cameraman moved across the murky surface. Something unexpected and mysterious emerged from the water and shocked him. He thought he had discovered a bizarre, unknown species of fish or creature. Eager to share his find, he uploaded the footage online, where viewers quickly pointed out that this wasn't some new, mysterious creature at all. In fact, it was a lungfish, a species capable of surviving in such harsh, lifeless environments. It looked like some creepy monster appearing from mud. Lurking in mud. Some friends were exploring the outskirts of town, near an old abandoned pit, but they were shocked when they saw something so huge lurking underwater. A massive slithering creature emerged from a hole in water in mud. The water was not so deep, so the creature was clearly visible. It was a giant salamander, undulating in water in sinus motion, with 2 small limbs. The creature's sheer size was awe-shocking. The creature suddenly vanished into the hole, leaving the friends speechless about what they have just witnessed. Mystery wings. What would you do if you stumbled upon something strange while filming by a lake? A boy, casually filming by the water, noticed something unexpected gliding across the surface. A strange creature, with a tiny head and bird-shaped body, used its small wings like flippers to move gracefully. The way it flapped its wings, propelling itself through the water, was both bizarre and captivating. Subscriber pick. That is exactly what has been terrifying residents of France. These slender, weathered-looking creatures have started appearing all over the Gulf of Morbihan. But what exactly are these creepy things? Sculptor Sophie is the mastermind behind this astonishing artwork. Her aim is to portray the feeble connection people have with nature, which is why her statues look weary and worn out. But seeing these late at night, I can only imagine the horror. Speaking of which, if you have any horror swamp stories, share them in the comments below. And don't forget to subscribe and like this video. Thank you.